We were having this conversation before this started when you let me know you were going to ask me who I am,
Yes.
and I I don't I know what I do. I can list a long list of the things that I do, but who I am, like who are you? That's a hard question to answer without listing what you do, right? Like the natural inclination is to say, um, I'm a daughter and a sister, and I'm a great friend. But these are things that I do. I'm an actor. That's something I do. But who am I? That's a much. Who am I today? And this hour could be completely different than 10 years ago. So
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Movement Radio. I am Chip Hazard,
I'm Talon Williams.
I'm Roger Sierra.
and today we have an incredibly talented guest who has brought to life some of the most iconic characters in the world of anime, video games, and animation. From the fierce and fearless Chie Satonaka in Persona 4 to the delightfully complex roles of Junko Enoshima and Toko Fukawa in Danganronpa. Her voice has become synonymous with some of the most beloved characters in pop culture. Please join us in welcoming the versatile and dynamic Erin Fitzgerald.
hello.
Hello.
First of all,
Hello.
I'm so happy I'm not the only one who can't pronounce the Japanese names. It is so hard. It is so hard in a
It is.
session. I always want to hit like the middle or like the Western culture syllable, and it's always the first syllable. And I never they have to
I
take multiple takes when they
Yeah.
have to make me pronounce Japanese
Yeah.
names, and I feel terrible.
I try, I literally try so hard.
You did a good job, but I
And
am going to clear it up.
Yeah,
Chie
please.
Satonaka, say it after me, Chip. Chie
Chie.
Chie
Yeah.
Satonaka.
Yeah.
Satonaka. Yes.
Hey, GG's.
Normally, if I'm reading something, I'm like, Roger, how do you pronounce this? And then he'll end up saying it. I'm like, cool. And we'll just continue the sentence.
Roger, okay. Past life from Japan.
Well,
Clearly natural.
well, I am a huge fan of Persona, so I already knew your character, which is
Oh, that's
amazing.
helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they're
also
hard. They're
Danganronpa,
long. They're
so
all long too. They're very long.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Erin, for those who
Yes.
don't know, who
Mhm.
is Erin Fitzgerald?
Hmm. We were having this conversation before this started when you let me know you were going to ask me who I am,
Yes.
and I I don't I know what I do. I can list a long list of the things that I do, but who I am, like who are you? That's a hard question to answer without listing what you do, right? Like the natural inclination is to say, um, I'm a daughter and a sister, and I'm a great friend. But these are things that I do. I'm an actor. That's something I do. But who am I? That's a much. Who am I today? And this hour could be completely different than 10 years ago. So who am I today? Today I am a grateful person. I am definitely grateful. I have been through a lot of chronic illness the last few years, and I'm having a good week. I'm having a good body week. So I am incredibly grateful that my meat suit is being operational this week. I am I am very I am more patient than I have been prior to the pandemic. I have a lot more patience. I can still grow and learn in that area. So I'm excited to meet the me that is even more patient. I'm a kinder individual than I was when I started this career. I am a more disciplined individual, and I'm still excited to do what I do for a living. I am still passionate about the craft of acting, and I'm still hyper focused on it as a special interest after 35 years. So these are some of the things that I am, I think I am. I think I am.
Okay. Okay. So this next
Yeah.
question is probably going to be a little bit more difficult then.
Okay.
Ask the question, who are you? I'm going to ask you the question, who were you before you got into voice acting, before you got into animation and all these different things? What was that initial spark that got you interested in wanting to pursue this as a career?
Well, first of all, voice acting is not a thing. It's just acting, right?
Okay.
There's no such thing as voice. Nobody acts from their voice. There's being different characters. There's always being different characters. When I was a child on television, there were actors like Carol Burnett, who was a character actor. Her entire cast, character actors. You know, Peter Sellers was a very famous character actor back in the day. So I watched a lot of character actors. Robin Williams is a character actor. Whoopi Goldberg, phenomenal character actress. And so I would watch character actors. Shoot, as early as 3 years old, I was acting out movies and being all the characters. I wasn't doing their voices. I was pretending I was them. I mean, you can't tell me none of you used to play make-believe as a child, right?
Still
Okay,
do.
so
I still do, yeah.
for me to be able to answer this question, I need to hear each one of you, like, what was your go-to character that you would make believe as? What was your fave?
My childhood friend and I used to pretend that we were Mega Man in our yard.
Perfect. Perfect example. Great. All right, Roger.
Probably Naruto.
I love it. Yes, Naruto run for the win.
Yep,
Talent.
still Naruto run.
I'm probably gonna get so much shit for this, but Steve Urkel. I was a fan of Steve Urkel growing up. I love the
I
Steve Urkel character.
love that choice. No judgment from me. When we're talking about amazing characters, right? Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you want to be a fun character that made everybody light up when they showed up in the room, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was a big Star Wars nerd, so I would be any of the Star Wars characters. But at 3 years old, I was acting out the entire Wizard of Oz with all of the characters, the Wicked Witch being my favorite. So it's not that I ever thought of this as a job, because at 3, you're not thinking about a job.
Right. You're just having fun. Yeah.
You're just having fun and playing make-believe. And I just never stopped playing make-believe. I never stopped being characters. I never stopped entertaining my neighbors and torturing my family. I never stopped torturing my friends with characters that just had to come out. Now that I'm in my 50s, I've learned I'm autistic with ADHD, and I'm like, oh, that tracks. But it's the ability to hold all of these characters, right? So and it was also the hyper focus interest in characters and character acting, and how do you do that? How are these people doing that? How is that done? And always being interested in learning that art form and that craft. I started very young, and I wasn't I was in small towns all across Canada. I was a Navy brat, so every little small town in Canada, they didn't have like major theater programs, and like there was no big television stars until I got to like a big city, right? So my mom was putting me in like older lady aerobics classes because I just had a lot of energy and I had nowhere to put it. You know, like they made up stuff to put me in to keep me busy. And I was always making up my own stuff because there were no classes. When I was as a Gen X, none of the parents were around because they were all working. And we were quite feral. And there was not enough after school programs or anything like that. We were all kind of latchkey kids. So I just made up my own stuff, and I forced either the kids in the neighborhood of the city I was in to do it with me, or I would do it by myself and entertain them. It was always kind of like that. And then when I got closer to, once I got into high school, okay, then I was like, wait a second, I could do this. And by high school, I knew people who were on TV and who were doing stuff, but I could never get that kind of stuff. I was very over dramatic. I was always very cartoony before I even understood that I was cartoony, and I didn't ever gel well with on camera. And I had friends who went to theater fine arts schools, and I was so jealous because that was like the movie Fame, and I really wanted to be in a theater arts school like there was in the movie Fame, and I was like, oh, I want that. And there was one in Ottawa, but I didn't get to go to it because my parents were like, no. And it felt very footloose, and I have to fight against the man to be able to be my real self. Like, I just, the autism was autisming, and I was very much living through every piece of content that I could see at the time. I was just, it was everything. All pieces of content were everything. But animation is what I watched the most of. I would watch anything animated before anything live action. And if live action came on, I generally turned it off and ended up playing video games. So I definitely was into cartoons. I didn't understand that those were actors. Like, I'm sorry, but Papa Smurf was Papa Smurf, Like, what do you mean? There's a, what do you talk, like, nobody knew that there were actors behind. I mean, I guess part of me must have known because the pattern recognition and recognizing the same actor sounds over and over and over again from show to show to show. But then I just, fell in love with the sounds of those actors. And of course it wasn't a show if they weren't in it, right? Like, because it's like a theater group kind of thing. So when I graduated high school, I really wanted to become a theater actor. I thought that's what my future held because I was very theatrical and I liked performing live in front of an audience and all of that. And so I wanted to go to university to study theater, but my parents were very, you can get a real job. Theater's not going to pay you anything. And I knew that was right. So they wanted me to become a teacher or a nurse because those are the things that I kind of leaned towards. But the universe and the Wizard of Oz helped me get into University of Victoria theater program, which I made it through for 4 years because you had to re-audition every year to get back in. We started, I think, with like 70 people in the first year and ended up with 7 for the 4th year, and I made it all the way through.
Wow.
And then I moved to Vancouver because that was Victoria, small little town in British Columbia, Canada. Moved to the big city, Vancouver, and I didn't know if I would work. I didn't think that anybody would hire me. I knew I was not the best actor at the school I was at. I was maybe the most passionate and the most dedicated, and I was like never going to give up no matter how much I was mediocre. But I was aware of where I stood in the pecking order. I was not one of those natural talents, right? I was just really hyper and aggressive with it. And then when I got into my 20s, I was very pretty young white girl, which was perfect for those girl next door, drug addict and hooker roles on television. So yeah, I got some television stuff. I did not enjoy being on television. That wasn't just the long, now that I know I have ADHD, 16-hour days in a trailer are brutal for ADHD. And especially the night shoots, like, oh no, thank you. So I did that for a while, like beer commercials, whatever. And I was trying to get into theater in Vancouver, but that was like the real actors were dominating the theater scene, and I was much too young to get my teeth in any kind of real way. And then I was still doing all the characters. So all the characters I'd been doing, torturing my friends and family, never got used for on camera, of course, because it was the 90s. They didn't want women to have personalities. They just wanted the content wasn't being written by women for women. It was very much no, we just need you to look cute and bangable and just be there type of a thing. And I'm like, ew. And I have all of these characters that are waiting to come out. And one of my roommates was doing looping for television and film. Now, looping is like an acting gig where you go to a sound stage and you're with a whole bunch of other actors and you basically get to improvise. You're improvising with other actors, kind of like doing all the sound and the conversations for the extras of any television and film movie, because none of them are mic'd. and you need like crowd scenes and screaming and monsters and all of that. And one of the studios, they were in need of a woman who could do characters and accents and all of those great things. And I'm like, and because the person, my roommate, lived with me, they were tortured with all the things that I could do. And so they were like, hey, you would actually be really good for this. And so I went in and I was working on a show from the 90s called The Outer Limits. And I was doing the monster noises. And I was actually we were doing one set of aliens, and they were doing one pass with me in like a high pitched creepy voice, and one pass with an actor named Michael Dobson in his low creepy voice, and they were putting them on top of each other, and so it would make this really creepy alien noise. And so me and all of these amazing actors from Vancouver, we got to play, and we were improvising, and we were going in and out of characters all day. And so like actors being with other actors is such a joy, because it's exactly like when you played make believe as a kid. Exactly. We just take on characters and we just we just act off of each other, and we just give and take, and it's just boop 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 boop. It's basically that. And then Michael turned to me and asked me if I was working in cartoons, and I said, I don't know. I don't know what you mean. And he said, why aren't you doing cartoon characters? And I'm sorry, what? And then he explained, you know how he named the name of an actor is the actor behind such and such character. And I froze. And it was very much pull back the curtain, see the wizard. And I was horrified. I had the antithesis of the reaction as most people do nowadays, where I was like, I did not want to know that information. I had seared in my mind the face of the actor that he just mentioned, and it did not go with the character that he was playing. And I was horrified that all of my childhood in that moment, it was a Santa Claus moment for me. So I had kind of like a little bit of a meltdown of like, no. And then he started naming all the actors and all the characters, and I was like, stop it, why? And of course afterwards I was like, wait a second. I went home and I kind of processed everything, and then it was like a giant aha moment where I'm like, oh, maybe this is what I was built for. Oh, maybe that's why I can do all the things that I can do. Oh, maybe this is the area of work that I should be working in that I didn't know existed, right? So it's not that I did not have the experience that many other people I hear about having, where they're inspired by their boop, boop, boop. I was inspired by sketch comedy character actors, for sure, but I didn't know it would be applicable in the way that I was destined to work. So after he told me that, within a year, I made a demo with his brother Brian. I made Brian direct my demo, and me and Brian Dobson were just breaking into the industry, where we were a couple of noobs, didn't know anything. There was no internet. So to make a demo and to do things, that we had to record on DATs. We had to pay for a studio to do a demo was exceptionally expensive, because there were very few of them, and nobody actually, like, this was not a common thing for actors to make audio demos that were on cassette tapes. And I was actually sitting in contemplation, and I can't remember if I was just in meditation or if I was asleep and got it in the dream, but I got the entire layout of my demo in like a contemplative state. And I kind of woke up and wrote the whole thing down of like, oh, because I'd never heard a demo, because there was nowhere I could go to listen to someone's demo. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what a demo was. So I created my own. And with the help of Brian Dobson, and we made exactly what I heard in the dream state. And that demo got me an agent, and that agent got me my first cartoon audition. Wait, where are they? Are they both there? Yeah, there they are, in the armpit area. So my first cartoon audition, And I actually booked her first. Sorry, May. Booked May first, and then a year later they gave me Naz after Tabitha moved on to do other work. She was booking a lot of other kind of work at the time. So that's how I got in to a field of acting that suited me the most. But honest to God, it doesn't matter whether I'm in front of a camera, on stage, or behind a microphone. Character acting is what I am strong in and what I do, and what I'm passionate about. And I don't care how I work. I'm grateful to be a union actor. I'm grateful to work for union wages, because that's much more livable. But yeah, it's a journey as an actor. It's hard. The hustle is real. The grind is real.
Awesome.
All right.
That was a long answer. You're welcome.
Oh,
No,
that's
that was
it's all good. It's
perfect.
great.
Yeah.
I
great.
loved it. So I
It's
want to go.
real.
Yes.
Right.
It's
I
damn
want to
real.
go back for just a second.
Yes, sir.
And you made the comment of you weren't the best actor in the school, but you had the most passion. And that reminded me of a quote I was told once that says, hard work will outweigh talent when talent doesn't work hard. So,
Well, you know what it is, and this is what I noticed. You can be incredibly talented, and there were people that I've met along many years in this journey that were insanely talented as actors. You could be talented in anything, right? You could be a talented baseball player. You could be a talented chef. You could be a talented singer. But if you don't love it, all the talent in the world is not going to build you a career, because you may be talented in something that you don't want to do.
right.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
100%.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if you're not talented at something, but you really want to do it, if you really love it, you're going to stick with it, and you're going to let yourself look like a donkey as much as you have to learn and get better and improve. And you're going to listen, and you're going to grow, and you're going to try, and you're going to trust your own intuition. But you're never going to quit. You're never going to quit. And what we were talking about earlier, Chip, the only way you can fail in life is to quit. If you keep going, you haven't failed. You just in process.
Correct. It's 100%.
Yep, absolutely.
So you moved all around Canada. Where all in Canada have you lived? That I'm intrigued now.
Born in Victoria, British Columbia.
Okay.
Moved to Ottawa, Ontario. Moved to Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Moved to Toronto. Oh, wait. Victoria, Ottawa, Toronto, Nova Scotia. Ottawa again. Moved back to Victoria. Moved to Calgary. Moved back to Victoria. Moved to Vancouver. Moved here.
Wow.
Oh, Los Angeles. I live in Los Angeles. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
America.
America. There you go.
America.
In
Yeah,
year
that place.
2000.
Yeah, you said, yeah, because I was like, because normally it's like, okay, you were from Canada, you either moved to Texas or you moved to California, so it's one of those two, because it's mostly that's where most of the
Right. I
most
moved
people
to
do,
Los
so.
Angeles, and I didn't move for work. I moved to follow a love interest.
Okay,
It didn't
And
work out.
but
it's okay.
you stayed.
Yeah, you stayed.
I
Yeah,
did. I did. I wouldn't have come if it weren't for. I followed love, and that's what I followed. And yeah, I didn't think I would have a career. I thought I would be doing something else. Because I didn't think that I was talented enough to compete with the talent pool in Los Angeles. But again, my tenacity, and I'm going to say God. I don't know if your listeners are spiritual people or not, but I have constant conversations with God, divine spirit, whatever you want to be, universe, whatever word anyone's comfortable with. To me, I'm happy with all the language around source. but I have a conversation with the Force. I like the Star Wars term, the Force.
With the Force.
And my conversation with the Force when I moved to LA was, if I'm meant to do this, you have to show me, because everything was flowing for me in Vancouver. I was doing very well for myself in Vancouver. And I kind of felt like I still wasn't a great actor, and I didn't know how I was going to become a great actor while already being at like the top of my game. I really felt like I needed to go through some real life stuff to be a better actor. So moving to another country and selling everything I own and going through the struggle of being illegal to legal, being in the world of what it's like to be an immigrant in America, I got to experience it. But, please, I experienced as a white woman, so it's not the same as other experiences. But I did befriend a lot of people who were going through the experience not as a white woman, and their stories were hard and amazing and humbling. And I worked a lot of jobs that I had never thought of, because I had been acting since I was 3, and I'd been acting since I was 3, so like real life. I came to America to experience real life and real struggle and real like living life without a safety net is what America living is. My Canadian life was very much, I'd always had a safety net, a very big safety net. But in America, I did not have that. And that allowed me to reach deeper inside myself to find an inner strength that I wasn't sure was there. I didn't know it. A lot of humbling, a lot of perspectives, really learning what my whiteness was, really understanding the privileges that I came into this world with, really kind of starting to unpack all of that, my internalized misogyny, my internalized racism, my internalized, all those things had to be unpacked while I was here in America in the most, it was like an egg being cracked wide open, Yeah. I had to be cracked open and really learn how to human. And being in America gave me the freedom to do that. So then my characters became more complex. I could relate with emotions that I never would have been able to relate to coming from the cushy life that I had in Canada. I was able to relate to experiences that I never would have had, relate to challenges, like things like depression, anger, rage, heartbreak, survival on a very real scale. All of these things I finally got to experience in a real way that shifted my art form and shifted my craft and shifted me as an artist, so that when I'm in the room, there would be a lot more gratitude and a lot less attitude.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I understand that completely.
Yeah.
So you had made mention that the Wizard of Oz kind of pushed you through, right? What was it about the Wizard of Oz that helped you become the better actor that you've seen?
This IP has been, since when I was 3, I was acting it out for the neighbor next door. She was 90. Her name was Mrs. Proudfoot, and I act out the whole movie for her. And she would sit and watch, and I would do it multiple weekends or whenever I would go see her.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, in North America, and especially Gen X, like that movie is always played at the holidays. So it's a traditional movie that you're always seeing. And in grade 12, we say grade 12 in Canada, not 12th grade, grade 12. They were doing a production of The Wizard of Oz, and my entire being, and I'm going to say ego, my ego, which had been rehearsing it since I was 3, was like, this is mine. In a way that I have never been about any role ever. But I really wanted the Wicked Witch. So I went in and I did what I do, which is the Wizard of Oz. And the acting teacher was so sweet. She's like, okay, so you can have whichever role you want. You can just tell me who you, and I of course I picked the Wicked Witch, because why wouldn't I? And I got to do that on stage, and because I did that, it was like I could use that, because you have to write an essay to get into theater, and I got to use that. And then I also, because I worked with, and that the teacher who directed the show, it's all, the work for itself allowed me to get the letters, get the people, boop boop boop, all of those things. And then when I moved to LA, one of the first video game jobs I had was for a little video game called World of Warcraft. And the first characters I played for, they're going to be in this corner, World of Warcraft, was Dorothy and the Crone. And as you can tell, the way that they are drawn, they're the Dorothy and the Wicked Witch. And I got to be them in a video game, and they paid me. And
there you go.
And so again, Wizard of Oz just kind of always with me. And currently I am doing a one-woman production of The Wizard of Oz, where I act out the whole thing with the audience. No costumes, no props, no sets, no lighting design, just me and the audience playing make-believe while I act out all the characters from the story.
Okay,
and then the audience sings with me.
That is interesting.
I have got to see
Cherry
that
on the Sunday.
Yes.
Okay, so the wonderful woman of Oz.com is the website. We are right now in the process of doing what's called showcases with theaters, so that the theaters will book me for maybe a tour or something. But if you have a local theater and they're looking for shows, please send them the wonderfulwomanofoz.com. And it doesn't matter where you live, like we'll go anywhere. We have a press, if you go to the wonderfulwomanofoz.com website, there's a press kit there. There's all the information that a theater would need. And we're talking low overhead, honey. It's just me, my tights, and some red sneakers. Like it's a cheap show to bring into town. I'm just saying. And I go to Indianapolis in a couple of weeks to do a showcase there for the Midwestern states. But awesome. I'm not really sure. I've never done showcases before. I'm not sure because I'm up against like really highly produced theater shows, so if you have a cast of 30 people and there's these lights and sounds, and then I show up afterwards and I'm like, it's even if it's a great show, when you're back to back with something sensory wise, you don't get the whole sense. So it's easier for me to like tell people, you can see clips of it and everything on the website, and then recommend us, because my producer is always available to take bookings.
There you go.
And I'm very happy to go anywhere because it's a very portable show.
Yes.
The Tivoli is a very beautiful theater, though.
The passion of it from when I was 3 is now like, it's like a full circle moment, right? Like my whole life went for, and if it weren't for all of these characters in between, I wouldn't have mastered my craft enough to be able to change characters so completely, right? So it's just character. It's a bombardment of, and I can only do the show to the level I can do it now after a 30-year career doing characters behind a microphone. So
Yeah.
it's
You,
fun.
you also mentioned earlier that you love to watch animated stuff. And then once the animation was over with and the live action stuff started, you just tuned it out and went to play video games.
Yes.
What was your weapon of choice when it came to video games? What would you like your
So
favorite?
I was alive when video games were invented. So it was like the very first gaming consoles, right? Like I had an Apple IIe computer and played Ultima 2 on Apple IIe computer,
Oh,
and we
wow.
had a ColecoVision. I believe I played Ventura on my ColecoVision, and then we got a Nintendo Entertainment System, and Zelda was my go-to. Of course, we played Donkey Kong and Space Invaders and all the Mario Brothers stuff, but it was only one game actually at the time. It was
Mario
the first
Brothers
game,
and Duck Hunt all together, pretty
right?
much.
Like
Yeah.
there was, the doom of having to start over every time it was so hard. Like I would have to go to my friend's house to play Pac-Man because that was Atari and we didn't have an Atari. So
Okay.
I was always very jealous of my friends who had Ataris. My dad was always like a hit and miss with technology. He's like, oh yeah, ColecoVision's gonna beat Ataris, but he also thought Beta would beat VHS. So here we are.
There were a lot of people who thought that.
Yeah, I played a lot of video games. I because of course those video games didn't save, so you had to keep going.
Right.
So like being undiagnosed ADHD, the 12-hour stints I spent playing video games make a lot more sense now.
Yep. I can't tell you how many seasons of franchise mode I played in Madden, like when I was like 15 years old, just playing all night long,
Absolutely.
Because like
the struggle is real. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
when Final Fantasy VII came out in
God.
the original one, shut
Yeah.
up. That was my game. That became my
Yeah.
game. That was the game I would play again and again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
I loved the wholesome, sweet, chocobo, chibi,
Yeah.
8-bit fantasy. That was, and I'm still kind of stuck in that era. I really love the original. I don't like all of these realistic looking games. If I wanted realistic, I'd go watch a movie.
Right. Like you go think it was like, oh, I'm gonna go, hey, I found my old PlayStation 1. Let's see what video games I got for it. Hey, here's Parasite Eve. Oh my God, I'm gonna load it up and play it. Like everything's polygons now,
Wow.
It was so weird.
Exactly. Yep. I feel that.
Yeah.
Deeply.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you, you've got all the characters behind you, and of all the voices that you
Don't do Don't do it, Chip.
You fix to do it.
Don't do it.
No, because you don't know where I'm going. Which is the hardest for you to sustain over a longer recording session?
I don't think she's on here.
Mhm.
No, the hardest character that I ever did was the female infected in Last of Us, the original Last of Us. Me and three other actors performed all the female infected characters, and the difficulty of that character, which was also the genius of it, and it's like multiple, but you kind of play the same thing in the sense of they told us very early on that once the body was transformed and then completely infected, the mind is still 100% there. So the psychological torture of being this infected zombie-like person, but your mind still being 100% there, like being trapped within and having all of this hunger and all, like that was psychologically difficult. It was dark. I played little kids, I played women, I played and there was a lot of really realistic deaths that they wanted for the soundscape. I remember the being lit on fire, which is in video games, And usually you do maybe 10 seconds because that's the throat ripperiest, is being on fire. And I remember doing that for like a full minute.
Ooh.
And I did multiple takes. And I remember at the end of the session thinking I was going to pass out and vomit, but also not wanting to pass out and vomit because I thought they'll never hire me again. They'll think I'm unprofessional. But when you look at what I was doing, it makes sense that I would want to pass out or vomit. And they did not hire me for the second game. So I was like, and in my autistic brain, I'm like, was it because I almost passed out and vomited?
Man.
So I'm not mad about being in the second game because that was brutal. It was brutal, but it was also genius because the product speaks for itself. The soundscape alone, and really what we were was part of the soundscape, right? It's not like we were characters. We were more like the soundscape of each, because we all vocally, they would have placed us in all the different character, like it all, like just the sewing it all together. I mean, amazing sound design.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Go ahead, Chip.
I was gonna double back and ask the question that she so vehemently said, don't. Which is your favorite?
Go ahead.
Storybots?
They
No.
can hear you.
Oh,
They'll hear you.
so you know, you remember before we hit the record button, I was telling you that I am a husband and a father. And
Yes.
my wife, she always asks, okay, so who are you interviewing tonight? And so she was in my office and I was doing some prep work, and she says, okay, who do you have on tonight? And I was like, oh, you're gonna love this. And so I pull up your website, and she was like, she was in Storybots? And I was like, yes. And I was like, she was like, you know what that is, right? I was like, yeah, the boys have watched every episode 300 times. They absolutely adore Storybots.
I'm so happy. Tell them I say hello. Oh, it makes me so excited. Thanks for watching Storybots, everyone. Oh my goodness, I love it. No, I think I love her the most. She got me an Emmy nomination.
Oh wow.
He did.
Oh, wow.
So, like, how does that not become your favorite character?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but what I love about Bo is that she's the heart of the show. She's, because each character represents a different aspect of personality, and Bo wears her heart on a sleeve. She's very emotional. If you didn't notice, she goes from 0 to 100 very quickly. She gets terrified also very quickly, of the things that she's scared of. But she's love embodied, and the creators were very clear about that. And the more I am Bo, the better I become as a human being. Bo has made me a better person, period. Everything I have experienced through Bo has been a huge healing experience for Erin. And her kindness and joy is infectious, and it has made me want to be more like her in real life.
Well, that's awesome. It's good that a character has an impact on you like that. It's really, and if it has an impact
Facts.
on you who does the voice, it also has a bigger impact on the people who watch the show, especially the kids that watch it.
Hopefully.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, bit of a serious question, because we've asked other actors this question as well.
Sure.
With the introduction and the advent of artificial intelligence in your industry, what is your honest opinion about the usage of AI in your industry?
Everything about AI boils down to consent. Welcome to the 2020s, where consent is on the table for everything in life. Thank you. Can we just move into the consent era officially, please? I have no problem with AI. as long as not only do they get consent, but I get reimbursed. Thank you. If you want to use my voice for the end of time, pay me, honey. Pay me that residual income. I'll be happy to stay at home while my voice is doing the work. That is fine with me, but let's sign a contract and you can pay me so that I can pay my bills. Because why in the world am I going to work myself out of a job? That doesn't make sense. So I go to work, then you steal my voice without my permission, don't recompense me, and then I no longer work again because you have my voice forever for the next year, and then I'm out of a job. Make it make sense, honey. Make it make sense. So look, I'm not anti-AI at all. Not in the sense that other people might be, because I do see the uses for sure. But human work, human creation has to be at the top of the pecking order. Nobody can do what we do with our creativity. There is a spiritual something when we create something and we feel it as an audience member, whether it's art, sound, performance. We all have experienced the uncanny valley when you're watching a video and you're like, I don't know what it is, but this is not it.
Yep.
Right? Like you can
Yep.
feel it. You can
Yep.
feel it. It's an uncanny valley kind of feeling. Whether so everything's too perfect, everything's too crisp, everything's too. So even the emotions, like the AI cannot recreate complex emotions. It can't. It can create sounds.
Mm-hmm.
But me standing in the kitchen talking to my mother about apples, and I might sound like I'm talking about apples, but inside of me, everything inside of me is screaming, don't pick a fight with your mom. Don't pick a fight. Don't get into a fight. Don't get into a fight. That subtext, that emotional undertone, or me talking about apples in a movie theater with my crush. I could be talking about apples. We're just talking about apples, but the feelings that I'm experiencing underneath and how that conversation with apples is going to sound, AI can't recreate that. It doesn't know what that feels like.
Yeah.
It could create something that might sound like that, but in real life, we don't play our emotions on the nose. In real life, it's underneath. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
we have the quackadoodle ability to feel 4 or 5 things at the same time. Grateful, angry, surprised, furious, all at once. Like all of those things can happen, and AI can't do that. It doesn't know how to do that. It can't differentiate, it can't tease apart the different emotions and the layers. It can't do that. So it's already limited in terms of what it can do. Like, and that goes with all forms of art.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have often been known to say that when you take the art away from the artist, it's no longer actually art.
Yeah.
Well, also, I think it's an insult to audiences, because audiences are, to me, a piece of art isn't really complete until an audience member experiences it, whether it's looking at a painting or listening to a piece of music. It's the visceral reaction that a person has when they experience the art, whether good or bad, right? No judgment as to a human reaction to something. But the human reaction to AI created stuff is generally the same. It's unease. There's an uneasiness. There's a, okay, because we can't, it's like our emotions are looking to connect with something and it connects with creepy. There's something creepy. Even if it looks perfect, there's just something creepy. It's giving creepy. So and you can't explain. I mean, that's what uncanny valley is. Everything can look perfect, but something's missing. It's that spark. It's that art that comes. It's that soul to soul connection. Period. Yeah. Whatever that is to you, whatever soul means to you.
Yeah.
In my opinion, of course.
Oh no, that was a
But
great.
yeah,
No, it was a
consent.
great.
They
Yeah.
can use my voice forever if they gonna pay me. Sure.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine.
I mean, that was a
That's
great
great.
answer. And
Thank you.
you were definitely more animated with your answer than other answers that we had, which I like, because like you could definitely tell the passion that you have for your industry, which is why it's concerning for me and other people who like animation and not just animation, but everything from music and everything from
Right.
commercials and different things of that nature. There is a scariness to AI, from the standpoint is like, we've said it many, many times on many, many episodes, like people are just worried about Skynet taking over at this point, with all the craziness
That's
going
a real
on.
fear for those of us from the 90s. Like, come on. That movie was very realistic.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I think Terminator 2 was probably just as
Well, I'm talking about 2 because nobody really acknowledges one. 2 is the definitive.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah.
Have any of you watched Terminator Zero yet? The Netflix anime about Terminator?
Not yet. I don't have Netflix right now, so I can't.
I'm stuck in 2. I am also stuck in episode 4, 5, and 6 of Star Wars. You're welcome. I am that age.
Hey, it's no. I agree. Good.
You can't knock greatness. But no, Terminator Zero, it's really like.
Is it good?
It's really good, but it really doubles down on my Skynet paranoia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know. That's a heads up.
I mean, Skynet does exist though already.
Yeah.
See, Roger already knows.
Yeah.
Roger, be wary.
Yes.
I'm just waiting for it to happen. I mean, at this point, we're so far behind in understanding.
I feel like it's probably already happened and we just don't know about it.
Exactly.
In an official way.
This is the thing. I'm 37 years old and I've already experienced so many once in a lifetime events. I'm just sick of it by now. Like,
dude, who is
somebody in another country just hit the damn button already. Let's end this.
You're
you know what I mean?
Wrong. You're not wrong.
No.
Oh, I feel for you.
Nah.
Yeah. I don't want anybody hit the button. I've still got too much shit to achieve.
That's true.
I got kids to.
I have to ask. I have to put out here though, Roger.
Yes.
I'm waiting on you.
For?
Well, everyone else has asked me a question.
Oh, see, I usually wait. I usually fill in the gaps in when like everybody's trying to think of another question. I think of a random question.
I need balance. My autism needs balance, and the pattern recognition is 2 of these things belong together, and I'm waiting for this square.
Just ask her a weird Power Ranger question like you do everybody else, dude.
I only ask Power Ranger questions when somebody has interest in Power Rangers.
Okay.
But
I know Johnny.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
But I don't know anything about Power Rangers.
No, that's fine. I mean, you have worked on him with a couple of projects, I guess. It's all the work you've done.
Yeah, and we've been to conventions together and stuff. He's a sweet, quiet man.
Yes, he is.
Very
I've met him
kind. Very
a lot
kind.
of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think last time, unfortunately, Chip and I saw him was right after the death of Jason David Frank. So he was not the happy guy he usually is. Yeah. So it was.
Yeah.
That's what people forget, that people in your industry are still people. And that's the thing. Like,
yeah.
True.
But
we are just people, actually.
Yes. You guys just get to do something other people wish they would do because
be other people? You know that's schizophrenic, right?
Yeah. Or split personality, depends.
We've got a little bit dissociative identity disorder happening. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, we were all wrestlers. We had that already. That's fine.
Yes.
Oh, good.
But no, my question, I guess, is when you were traveling through Canada and everything, and then you moved down here, what was like the biggest, like, you already talked about all the different experiences that you went through from everything like that, but what was like a thing now that you still go through that you're like, oh, that's still a culture shock, I guess would be the kind of thing to say?
Roger, what a great question that I have never been asked before.
Really?
Oh, see, look at that. That is good. You know what the most shocking thing was? I thought it was going to be the exact same. In Canada, I was convinced, as I suppose many Canadians are, that we're just like America. In some ways, maybe not politically, But
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, you know, we've brought up on the same television. Everything's pretty much the same, right? I mean, maybe the generations now post 2020 would never feel that way, but coming from the 80s and the 90s, where it was very homogenized content on television, we were all shown the same stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we were shown the same television shows, the same Thursday night lineup, the same, you know, and we all, it was very, you know, the boomer generation was raising us, and basically, so it was all like nuclear family, you know, everybody doing their best. Divorces were just starting to happen, and it was hush hush, and you know, like it was, we were all kind of like what we saw on TV, we were all kind of living, right? Or wanted to, or we're aspiring to live. We were basically all bought into the capitalist patriarchal idea. And we all were like, okay, this is what it is. It looks like freedom. Come on, Cyndi Lauper, sing us through. So when I moved to America, for some reason, I thought it was going to be the same. And here's what this is my description. This is America, and this is Canada. I thought it was going to be this, but it was this. So it looked the same, it felt the same, but I didn't fit in the same. Now, of course, now being, you know, neurospicy, I'm like, okay, that could have been part of it. But there are certain things that we are in Canada that are inherently British. Like the Queen was our queen. I'm sorry, I don't recognize you, Mr. Son. The charge. I just can't go there. I've been in America too long. I'm definitely like throwing back.
My wife would agree with you.
Yeah, he's not the one. Like we were like, please just skip him. But so I didn't feel my Britishness until I moved here. So I didn't feel the things that I had been ingrained and indoctrinated from the original colonizer, who colonized Canada. And my family, I'm third generation, like 3 generations before me were from Ireland during the famine. They came to the famine, which was, now we're all learning about genocide. They came to Canada. So I'm like, oh, all the things. And so I didn't know. I honestly didn't know about myself until I came to America, where I was like, oh, I really am Canadian. And I didn't know what being Canadian was until I was in America. So in Canada, I couldn't feel myself being Canadian because I'm like, we're kind of American. And it didn't even, most Canadians like, we don't have an accent. Like even right now, I'm wearing my American accent. This is my American accent. I also go through accents depending on who I'm talking to. So my roommate is from Detroit. So I go through my roommate's accent. And then I have friends from LA. I have friends from New York. And then, so I'll go through I go through accents, like whatever is in my ear and who I was talking to last and who I'm talking to now, you know, that's always been a thing. But if I just have a conversation with my mom, right? So this is probably my most natural accent, but I never use it because unless I'm talking to my mom or dad, right? And so this is what I thought was no accent. And so if I said process or sorry or any of those things, right? So it's very like, and then I put my American background and it's all smile. That was a weird, and it took me, I'm gonna say exactly 3 years to release my Canadian consciousness and open up to the American state of consciousness, which is, for all of its ups and downs, very free. And I know that it feels like an oxymoron or a contradiction, because in a lot of, you know, capitalist white supremacist society, how can there be freedom? But there is a certain sense of mind your own business here and let people be and do who they are. You know, you can, now granted, Americans will judge you to your face all day long and you'll know your neighbor hates your guts, but, and they'll be very vocal about it, but that's them being free enough to do that for them, and then you being you and living your life and expressing yourself how you choose to express yourself, like that freedom. Whereas in Canada, there's like a social, we get it from the British, there's a social norm that you don't break, right? So everyone says Canadians are so nice. We are trained since childhood to be incredibly polite. And then when we leave you and go to our house, we talk shit about you behind your back. It's called passive aggressive.
Yep.
You never say what you're actually thinking to the person's face. You are very polite to them. You're always good etiquette. Oh, yes, absolutely. Then you go home and you're like, how dare she? Who does she think she is? Canada 101. Whereas, again, in America, it may not be comfortable, but the level of honesty that happens in the sense of direct communication, whether it's good or bad or ugly, I respect it. I respect the freedom of it. I'd rather see the people I want to avoid up front rather than find out later they were sneaky and ew. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
but I also dig the whole mind your business. Let me live my life the way I choose to live it, and you live your life. And how about we don't encroach on each other at all? You don't tell me how to be and behave, and I won't tell you how to be and behave. I may not like you. You may not like me, but we let each other exist and we coexist. And ideally, we respect each other, like in a really healthy. I think America at its best, when I've seen the best of it come out, everybody respects each other's space and does not encroach upon each other, and people do what they say they're going to do. That's when I respect America the most, is when I've experienced those upswings in everybody living their true authentic selves and their lives. And I also love it when America gets together as a community and supports each other. Like, they do it in an authentic way because they don't have to, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the social pressure of doing it. It's I'm going to do it because it's the right thing to do, which I love, because it's a genuine service to others, as opposed to socially enforced. You have to do this because it's very nice. What would they think of you if you don't? Which, again, you can even hear the whiteness when I say that, right? Like, that's such a British whiteness thing to say. But yeah.
Okay, so I see the tattoo here. What is your tattoo?
Okay, so I have a Jedi. I have the Jedi symbol. I have the Q, which is the word I sing in contemplation.
Yes.
This is the symbol of the Ek, which for me represents Holy Spirit. I have flowers, which have meaning in butterfly. And then, hang on. Wait.
Here we go.
I have the whole rebel symbol. And then in what is the Star Wars language called? I always want to say Elspeth. It's not Elspeth. Arabesh. And in Arabesh, I am one with the Force. The Force is with me. Across
me. That's cool.
And then I have a whole back tattoo, but I'm not showing you that.
Okay,
that's fine.
It requires a lot of exposure. I'm not ready for that.
No.
Right? No,
you're good.
I wouldn't expect you to.
No.
Yes, a lot of Star Wars.
Okay, I am right there with you. Who's your favorite Star Wars character?
Princess Leia.
Princess Leia. Were you?
Because she was. Look, that last movie before she passed, it was like her whole Jedi revelation story would have been that last movie, and we never really got the closure of that and how amazing that would have been, and I was really excited for that. But like there were not a lot of female leading characters when I was a little girl who were independent and strong. Now there are a decent amount considering, but like Ripley from Aliens, Princess Leia, actually a couple of the characters from Aliens, but but Princess Leia was kind of like, I was 4 years old sitting in a Volvo hatchback at the very, very back that my parents had made a bed out of, and a drive-in theater when I saw A New Hope. And Princess Leia, like, was toting a gun, telling the boys to put it in place. Like, that she did not need rescuing. You know, I was down for her. I was down for her hard at 4. I was like, oh, that's a princess? Oh, I want to be a princess now. If that's what being a princess is, I want that one.
And now, all these years later, Princess Leia is a Disney princess.
Yep.
Redefining princesses for generations. Very demure, very mindful.
Here we go.
Yes.
The TikTok trends. Yes.
I can't help it. I love TikTok. I don't post.
Yeah.
I am a lurker.
You're a lurker.
Yeah.
I understand.
Real quick, what
Yes,
Canadian
Kanker.
food do you miss?
Poutine.
Poutine.
Poutine, and Nanaimo bars. Although I could make them here,
Mhm.
but
It's not the
Nanaimo
same.
bars from Canada is just different. It hits different. But poutine, for real. Actually, and okay, so I have a lot of my best friend since I was 16 is Jamaican, and his family Jamaican. So I ate a lot of Ontario Jamaican food. And there's just Caribbean food hits, right? And there's just so many Caribbean restaurants and chefs, but it was really Dwayne's mom's cooking.
Oh yeah,
So
nothing beats mama's
I don't know
cooking.
if I'm allowed
Nothing
to
beats
say
mama's
Dwayne's
cooking.
mom's cooking, because I miss my second mom's oxtail the most. Like, she makes the oxtail, and Dwayne can make a good aki saltfish dish. So both of their cooking, because I can't cook. And so when I would go home and visit, Dwayne would make the aki saltfish. Now I can get it here. I can get it in LA. I do, but it's
it's not the same.
not like
No,
it's not like home. It's not
Yeah.
the same.
No,
It's not
yeah.
the same.
I had said we had an interview just dropped this past week where we actually talked about food to Jeff Vicente, yeah. And we were talking, I was talking about you know, how my mother used to make chicken and dumplings, you know, and yeah, I can go get chicken and dumplings from the store or something, or I can make chicken dumplings myself, but it ain't the same without mama cooking it for me. You know what I mean? Because the main ingredient is love.
Is love,
you know?
yeah.
But do you see how it circles back to the AI conversation?
Yes, yes, yes.
You can follow the recipe. You can do exactly what they do. But what they do is specific to the person who makes it. The artistry of my second mom's cooking skills, and actually, when she was alive, grandma's cooking skills, because really she was the one who was cooking it. But it translates. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing like there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. So each individual, the expression through whatever art form, cooking, it could be cleaning, it could be sewing, it could be like, everything is art to me. Everything in life is art. Everything. You clean your car, that is an art form. You know, taking care of your car is an art form, as far as that, because it's a form of expression, it's a form of creativity. Yeah, everything that uses your creativity is your expression pushed through to that thing, right?
Right.
Yeah, AI can't do that.
Okay, so here's the tough question.
Uh-oh.
Is Tim Hortons the real deal?
Controversial take, and I will be okay, so
some black SUVs just pulled up.
it's a donut shop. So it sells donuts. I've been to a lot of good donut shops. The coffee is coffee. I don't know. I think I don't understand, because the whole Timmy's thing took off after I left. I left in 2000, and in the 90s, nobody was going to Timmy's all the time. Like, that wasn't a thing. That happened after I left, you know? So when I went back and everyone was like, we gotta go to Timmy's, we gotta go to Timmy's. I'm like, okay, sure. And I remember Dwayne's wife took me to a Starbucks. And this is mid 2010 something or other. And I go in and I asked for, what did I ask for? I think it was almond milk, because California, there was tons of almond milk. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. She's from California. She's Hollywood. Asking for almond. We're in Canada. Drink milk, damn it. I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed because I thought, am I Hollywood for asking for almond milk? It's a diet. I can't do the regular. What, am I Hollywood? Have I turned Hollywood? I didn't know. So yeah, I might be too Hollywood for Timmy's.
Oh,
man.
I don't get it.
That's the clip. That's the clip.
Too Hollywood for Timmy's. That's the
we all know Dunkin' Donuts is the superior one. It's fine.
Canada disowns me and asks for the passport. Do you know how much tourism we get just because of Timmy's? I'm like, yeah, but is that the tourism we want?
Yeah,
hey, yeah.
I feel like our maple syrup alone would be maple syrup and poutine is more than enough. Why do we have to?
Yeah.
Why do we have to compete with like America? You're talking to America about donuts. You think we can compete with America for donuts?
No.
Okay.
Fatty foods we can't lose.
Hell, our national logo should just be a bowl of mac and cheese at this point. You know?
I mean, just look at Homer. You know, I'm just saying.
Right. Exactly.
Very controversial take. I'm sorry, Canada. Please forgive me. I'm sorry.
She's gonna email Chip in a couple of weeks, like, yeah, so I'm no longer a dual citizen.
so they rejected.
She's gonna email me. She's gonna email me right after this. Hey, can we cut the Timmy's part out?
Edit this part out for me. Yeah.
I'm happy to be the spokesperson for any poutine company.
For the people that don't
Timmy's,
know,
you can just pass me over. It's fine.
Yeah. For the people that don't know, because I'm sure there are people out there that don't know, what exactly is poutine and what's the best way to eat it?
Yeah. What is actual poutine?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. I'm about to tell you. Okay. So poutine is fries, which is, normal. But like the way Quebec makes fries, like they make fries. Remember, a lot of Irish people moved over to Canada.
Right.
Canadians can do potatoes. So we've got fries, and then you want to have the cheese curds made from the cows that are brought up in Quebec. So you know how cows have different, their cheese tastes different. There's a reason why Wisconsin cheese is the most famous in America, because the cows there and what they make. So it's the same thing, but with the Canadian cows, and I can't even remember what they're called. There's an actual name for the cows that I don't remember. They're like black and white cows. And the cheese curds that they make in Ontario and Quebec are the only cheese curds that you want on the poutine. Now, if you have to substitute, Wisconsin cheese curds are the only acceptable substitute, because it won't be exactly Canadian poutine, but it'll be Wisconsin stamped with approval. Like it's going to taste delicious if it's a Wisconsin cheese curd, no question. So that's the sub. But the gravy is Saint Hubert's gravy. Like you have to have that specific gravy. There's no gravy like it. It's not like an American gravy at all. It's a very different gravy. And that recipe, I guess, is up there. Although there was a poutine joint that opened up here in LA, and apparently it's a chain from Canada. And that was like I'm like, this tastes like poutine. And the dude was like, we bring in the gravy. I'm like, that makes sense. And it was really close to a good. So like if you go to like a food truck in anywhere in Ontario or Quebec, you can find a really good poutine. I wouldn't order a poutine at a restaurant because all the restaurants have to do it their own way and they all reinvent it. But a food truck is going to give you authentic fries, curds, that gravy. Like, it's real basic, but restaurants make it so fancy and everybody's adding. And so now it's not even poutine anymore when you go to restaurants, but a good food truck will just do basic, authentic poutine.
Okay.
Poutine. And fun fact, We Bare Bears hired me for the movie to play the girl in the poutine food truck.
That's so awesome.
That's awesome.
That was like a highlight of my career. I'm like, I get to yell poutine. Like, it was chef's kiss. So the creator of We Bare Bears, love you. You were great.
We Bare Bears is
love that
really
show.
good. I love it
that
too.
show.
Yeah,
was a
it would
good
always
show.
be because it would be it's Cartoon Network, right? Yeah, because
Yes.
because We Bare Bears. Oh God,
I love Clarence. I own
can't-
Clarence. I was a huge Clarence fan.
yeah. I'm trying to think of that other cartoon. It's about the kid with he had the snake with him, like it's Sanjay and
Dutt.
huh?
Sanjay and Dutt.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, and then there was another one that came on. It was like, hell, after that, it's just a Teen Titans Go marathon after that anyway. But
Right.
you know, which my daughter is obsessed with. So I'm happy with that. She loves Raven.
You can't go wrong. Teen Titans is clever.
Yeah.
That's why I have them all up there on figure style.
Hey, GG.
All of them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need to get me some figures on my wall. But...
All right. I have a question for all of you.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, this is gonna suck. You're welcome.
Okay.
I'm not gonna do the mean one. I'm gonna do so. Before today and interviewing me,
Yes.
which of my characters were you familiar with? Now, you may not have been like legit. Be honest. Like, if you had no idea of my work, be honest. If you knew of my work but from the side, be honest. And if you are like, oh my God, I really love this one, be honest. Like, I want honest. I need to know. Give me a litmus test of reality.
Okay.
I'll go first.
Oh yeah, go first.
Yeah, go first. Yeah.
It's Bo from Storybots. I mean, I said we've watched every episode literally 300 times.
And you meant it.
Yes.
Yes.
But can we talk about what we learned from watching Storybots? Like, there were so many topics that I had no idea. I didn't know. I didn't know how airplanes flew. I didn't know about taxes. Honestly, I know fractions better now because of that Storybots.
Yes.
Like, oh, I didn't know this. Very educational.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Tell
who's
him.
next?
I'll go. I had heard the name, but I've heard your name before. I couldn't put two and two together as to what characters you played and everything until I see the character board behind you, and I'm thinking she was in Ed, Edd and Eddy. What character did she? And then I see it, and it's like, oh, that's where I recognize. Okay, so I know you from Ed, Edd and Eddy, but
that's a good one.
Allie, that's
a solid one. That's a solid one.
But see, I grew up watching stuff like Ed, Edd and Eddy. I grew up watting Ed, Edd and Eddy, Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's gonna be at C3
May
this year.
Kanker's pissed off because I'm blocking her. There we go. There you go, May.
There you go. Yep. My favorite character. I don't know if it was because of how, I guess not dumb in a sense, but
you're gonna say Ed.
I loved it's gonna sound dumb, but here's the way I looked at Ed, Edd and Eddy. Okay. I looked at Ed, Edd and Eddy as like a cartoon version of the Three Stooges.
I love that.
Like Ed was like the real dumb one, but he was lovable, so he's kind of like Curly Howard. And you got Ed with one E. Yeah, Ed with two D's. He
double
was
D.
kind of double
yes.
D. Yeah, he was like he was like Larry because he was more the straight guy, kind of the in between Curly and Mo. And then you got Eddy, who was completely Mo. Hey, like, I'm gonna do all these crazy plans, and when they backfire, here comes Ed to make me feel stupid. Because that's what that's what I liked about Ed, Edd and Eddy. And the fact, have you heard the conspiracy theory / fan theory about Ed and Eddy?
Yes.
about how
It's
they're all
genius.
living in the cul-de-sac. There's no
I
adults,
think
so
it's
technically
genius.
they're in purgatory.
Danny also
Okay.
thinks it's genius. Danny
Yeah.
also thinks it's clever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that, and
Really
my first
great.
thought was like, yeah, I can see it.
That was well thought out. You can't tell me
Yeah.
that person isn't neurospicy, because that was
Yes.
genius. I'm like,
Yes,
ooh, that's
absolutely.
good pattern recognition.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm always down for a good fan theory. I'm always
I am
I'm like,
too, actually.
really?
I'm
Them
into it.
conspiracy theory. Oh yeah, me too. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, Roger.
All right, so obviously from Ed and Eddy, I grew up like Talon. I grew up on that easily. Chie, Ishiki. I love Persona. Like I replayed Persona 5 recently, and I checked my
Okay.
list of how long I've played, like how many hours in. I have about 700 into Persona 5. So
Whew.
yeah,
Okay.
I
So I've
100%
yelled at
every
you a
time.
lot.
Oh
I
yes, for
apologize
sure.
for any trauma I have. Like, she was nasty. She was so mean. She was
Yeah.
cruel.
Yeah.
She was dark.
But you need characters like that when you're making a game or story like
You
that
do.
to
I mean, that's
sort
why
of
she's a bad boss.
exactly.
Yeah.
Then obviously for Monster High, because my daughter is into her Monster High phase, so
Customary greeting to your daughter. I'm very glad I hear this. Everybody's so excited. These are the Monster High girls.
she would
Merci
lose her
beaucoup pour
mind.
Yeah.
watching Monster High.
Yeah.
And actually, now like watching the series with her and everything like that, it's actually really,
It's
really
good.
good. And
It
I
It was
like
really well written.
Mhm.
yeah,
Though,
it's
like when I mean, I'm the OG cast, right? So
Mhm.
anybody watching, if you're watching the current stuff, it's a million years from what we did at the beginning. Well, in the beginning, it was a web series,
Mhm.
and then they started to do movies,
Yep.
and it was written. The two writers, it was two male writers, but they were writing brilliant writers who worked with Audu Payton, the producer, and they all work really closely, and it was very much wanting to give that same feeling as the cartoons in the 80s that would give you those feelings of like, let's learn about ourselves, let's learn how to be authentic and transparent, and all, like, they think about it, those are three men I named for a cartoon that feels like it's a female cartoon.
Yep.
They wrote it with the intention for boys and men to watch it and to not cringe.
Mhm.
That was the goal, is to create something that girls and women would love, that the gay community would love, but also that straight men would enjoy without cringing, because all three of those men are straight that helped create the show itself. So the two writers and the executive producer. The creator is a gay man. And then all of the cast, well, women mostly. So that gives you it was really well put together and really well thought out. And then once it started peaking and making, like, it became huge, and it was really, really popular. And that's when corporations say, now that it's making us a lot of money, how can we save money? And they fired everybody, the whole production team. They got rid of it. They replaced it with people who would accept less. Literally asked the cast, if you want to be in this next project, you have to take half the pay.
Oh, down.
No.
So I went into negotiations with them, but actors were already scabbing, to get the part. Because of course they're not telling the people auditioning that the original cast is still in negotiation. And now, weirdly, like 15 years later, now it's fully union protected. All the actors are getting what they deserve. But the IP is already built off of our 10 years of everything that we did. So it's a bittersweet IP for me, because of the corporation coming in and kind of cutting us off at the knees. And at the same time that happened, Ever After High happened. So Ever After High was a spinoff from Monster High. And of course, Mattel was talking to Disney about it, because a lot of the Disney kind of claimed all of these fairy tale characters, which honestly they had no right to do. It's not, they stole it all from Brothers Grimm. So right, it's so stupid that that Mattel felt like, but they Disney paid a lot of did a lot of work with Mattel, right? So they worked together a lot. So they had to say, hey, so they had to give Disney the heads up. We're doing the show called Ever After High. It's based on fairy tale characters, but we're not going to use, we're not stealing from your IP. We're doing our own spin on it. And then Disney turned around and stole it back and created the Descendants.
Yep.
Effectively canceling Ever After High. So yeah, that's when big corporations play with each other.
Yeah. But Disney's always stolen ideas from, like, they stole items
they
from
don't have their original.
The Grimm brothers, HP Lovecraft, like like I mean, we did it. We've done it. We
Other
did an episode
culture
we did.
I think it's growing. I feel like they're shifting and they've been doing stuff. They're experimenting now. I think taking on Pixar was interesting because Pixar was always about original stories and stuff. So I do feel, and I have hope because I do have hope. Maybe it was because my heart was destroyed when they bought up Star Wars, and I was like, not to the enemy, the dark side. The dark side has absorbed the Force. But I trust that the Force is stronger, and from the inside, the Force will melt and destroy the Empire, and only love will remain. But yeah, so it's been a journey. It's been a journey.
You're just gonna see a Darth Vader helmet with Mickey Mouse ears on it. Is that what you're gonna see next?
Yeah, dude. That I've seen that. That's a real thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we lost Roger.
I think his daughter came in. And he's
I love that they know Monster High. That's a big deal because that was a big part of my life. That was a good 10 years of my life.
Yes. So we won't keep you too long. We know you're super busy. But if anybody wanted to follow you, what it's to see what projects are coming up that you are involved in, where do they go?
This is a very difficult question because I feel like with the chronic illness I've been experiencing, I have pulled back from social media in a way I never expected.
Yes.
I spent decades building my social media. I have a Facebook fan page. I have an Instagram. I only post there when I have something to promote. So that if you want to see things I'm promoting, I think I post there. I love Blue Sky. But I'm not on it a lot. But I do post on Blue Sky, Erin Fitzgerald at Blue Sky. I have a Twitter, but since Elon Musk, it kind of has been such a dumpster fire, and I don't feel safe on Twitter anymore. And of course, I have already been through a lot of dark attacks over Twitter over the years. But I guess I'll still post there. Like I post at all the things. I'll post there. But to be honest, I'm working the most on The Wonderful Woman of Oz. I'm putting all of my attention there. I think from that website, thewonderfulwomanofoz.com, you can sign up for notification of where we'll be performing the show next in any city. If you want to be on an email list for that. And conventions again. I'm on the convention circuit again. And I think I'm going to Spooky Empire Con in Orlando, Florida next in September. October 12th, 11th, 12th, 13th, I think. So I'll be going there. I'm not great at the social media anymore. So I apologize in advance. I am on TikTok. I don't post, but I'm there. I still have my Twitch. I haven't streamed in forever. I do watch. I spend all of my free time watching other people's streams. So if you want to really see where I am, I'm watching other people's
The Wonderful
stuff.
Woman of Oz.
The Wonderful Woman of Oz. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Sorry, I'm terrible at promoting myself. I'm the worst.
No,
I apologize.
you're fine. You're fine.
Thank you.
We will put the link to your website, The Wonderful Woman of Oz.
Oh, that's a good idea. And also my regular website's probably got good information on it too.
Okay. Yeah. I'll make sure that both of those are in the description of this video. You're more than welcome. So I will tell you that the greatest gift that you can give a person is your time. Because when you give your time, you give a portion of your life that you never get back. So we greatly appreciate you giving your time to us this evening.
It was a good investment. Thank you so much for the great conversation. I appreciate all of you. Yeah. Thank you for bringing me on your platform.
We definitely appreciate it. And thank you so much for doing this for us. If you want to hang out with us for just one more second while we do this outro real quick, thank you guys so much for tuning in. What? Roger's back.
Oh, he can't hear. He doesn't have his headphones. Hold up.
Sorry, someone was ringing my doorbell like crazy. So
it's okay.
Them black SUVs.
Anyway. Yes, they heard all the poutine talk and they came after me.
And it's like, okay, so how do you know Mrs. Fitzgerald again? Anyway, don't worry. Ain't no snitches on Movement Radio. We're good. All right.
No, just random neighbors being random.
Yeah, you know how the neighbors are.
Anyway.
Community. Try to be, yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
Anyway. But that being said, once again, Erin, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you guys for watching tonight. We really hope you guys had a good time watching this. Chip, Roger, anything you guys want to say before we get out of here this evening?
Well, as always, please do not leave without leaving a like, comment, share, and subscribe.
And as always, thank you guys for supporting us continuously through all of our adventures. I'm going to say adventures and journeys. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do great interviews like we did today and get to meet people that we've grown up with or want to know or anything like that. So this is always a great experience. Thank you guys for all the support.
And if you guys want to continue to support Movement Radio, make sure you check out streamlabs.com/Movement Radio /merch and go copy some merch. Our My Hero Academia inspired merch, our Dragon Ball Z inspired merch, the old school logo, the new school logo, and we got a couple of cool ideas coming up down the line. Just stay tuned for that. Once again, Erin, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. I'm Talon Williams.
I'm Chip Hazard.
I'm Roger Sierra.
And this is Movement Radio.
God bless.